This is MRN Out Loud on MRN.com, presented by Bloomin' Mondays at Outback Steakhouse. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
MRN Out Loud, presented by Outback Steakhouse after the weekend that was at Watkins Glen and what's going to happen at Michigan and Mid-Ohio. We'll cover all that and more on the program. It is a Bloomin' Monday. If you're checking us out on Monday, a top 10 finish for Kevin Harvick means a free Bloomin' Onion at Outback Steakhouse. And who doesn't like free stuff? We'll tell you about some more free stuff you can get involved with a little bit later on.
We're just giving away stuff.
We're givers. We're not takers.
Givers. I mean, it's the only show where you can get these two items. The only show.
That's right. Together. Onions and tires. We are the only onion and tire show on this whole network.
That's it.
Any network, really.
In the entire internet. That's it.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Watkins Glen. We saw a great run by Austin Cindric there when a lot of people criticized their move to pit. He winds up winning the race, and then Chase Elliott goes, noted road course ringer Chase Elliott goes back-to-back at Watkins Glen.
Which hasn't happened since,
as we discussed last week, Marcus
Ambrose. That's a pretty cool company to know
that
Marcus Ambrose was the last back-to-back and the last repeat winner. Chase Elliott, now last year's winner, repeats this year. But again, last week's show for the Xfinity race, we talked about three drivers that I was excited to watch, and that was A.J. Allmendinger, Justin Allgaier, and Austin Cindric. We nailed two of them.
No, they put on a show.
And that was an amazing, and we saw two good last five-lap battles on the Cup side and the Xfinity side with two really good guys. So you had Austin Cindric and AJ on Saturday, none of them making mistakes. And then that last run with Truex and Chase, they had like a 10-second lead on third.
I know, they ran away.
But those two drivers, neither one of them could gain a tenth of a second, and neither one of them messed up a tenth of a second. It was pure perfection to watch from the spotter stand, to be able to sit them, watch them guys, and you're just waiting. 7 corners, all them shifts, all the upshifts, all the downshifts, all the braking zones, all the accelerations. You're just waiting for, because you had 2-3 car lengths separating them. You're waiting for one guy. On Saturday, I got the spot over in the S's for Paul, Ryan Blaney, and we got to watch how those guys got up to the S's. No mistakes on either one of those drivers. On Sunday, was on the front stretch, watching those guys go through 6 and 7 down the front, all for one up there, no mistakes. And that was just amazing to watch, the lap after lap after lap. Their lap times were just mirroring each other on Sunday. And Truex got out of the car. I mean, he beat third place by 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
He's like, he
just needed a little more.
Just couldn't get by this kid. He just wasn't making any mistakes. There wasn't the beating and banging that we saw 7-8 years ago to the checker, but we saw.
But there was that anticipation of something's about to happen here. Yeah.
But it was an appreciation of the perfection that both drivers were doing at the same time, because that's what it took to stay in front of Martin Truex and for Truex to try to get to him. They both had to be perfect at the same time, and they were. There were no mistakes, and it was really cool to watch.
Chase Elliott, again, back-to-back at Watkins Glen. Here's what he had to say after his victory.
Yeah, I mean, we've never done, this as a team. This was the first time we ever gone somewhere and sat on the pole and led the most laps and won the race. I've never done that in my career, and I'm sure Alan has, at some point. But as a group, we've never done that. So I just feel like that to me is I feel like the biggest piece of the whole weekend is just knowing that we're the type of team and the caliber of team that can go and put on those kind of performances, and those are the kind of performances you have to put on to compete with those guys that win often. So we just need to go do that more often, and I think we can run with them. Yeah, and those playoff points are huge, and I think that's the key that those guys, and the advantage that those guys have. The guys that have 4 or 5 wins already, they have probably double as many playoff points as we do. So that those guys that have won often and won that much, I mean, they're just about a lock for Homestead, almost. I mean, they have a heck of a lot of help to get there. So that's the kind of position you want to put yourself in before the final 10 start, for sure.
14 playoff points now for Chase Elliott. He does have more than Kevin Harvick, and I don't think anybody would have bet you that at this stage of the season going in. He does have half the playoff points of Kyle Busch, who has 28 right now. Other guys way up there, Martin Truex with 22 playoff points, Keselowski with 19 playoff points, but Chase solidly in that mix now as we head in. I don't think it's that necessarily surprising or shocking that he was good at Watkins Glen. After all, they won there a year ago. I think it may have been surprising that he was dominant, this dominant. He led 80 of 90 laps.
Virtually a perfect weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect would have been leading 90, which Jeff Burton did years ago.
Almost impossible, yeah.
But through the sequence of events, there were a couple other drivers that led laps. But fastest, every time we had something, every time it mattered, qualifying, 2 stages, end of the race, the one guy that was at the top of the board was Chase Elliott. And they made such a cool deal out of it. And I hate to not to take away from the fact that his dad was spotting over in the buses, but him and Eddie DeHaan have done a really good job of working together. Eddie he's the calming voice of Chase Elliott, gives him the information. And it was cool to see his dad, Hall of Famer, sitting over there in that bus stop as well, getting the recognition.
How many guys have a Hall of Famer spotting for them?
Yeah, and their dad.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
Dad,
yeah,
right? That's what's really
absolutely.
cool. So very few drivers have their dad, right? But it's really cool to have a Hall of Famer. But again, Eddie DeHaan's been in the sport, and again, that's what's Eddie DeHaan spotted for Bill Elliott.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Now he's spotting for his kids.
Yeah,
so that's kind of cool. That's a good history.
And it stays right in the family like that. It is something to behold for sure. And how different would this weekend have been if Chase didn't miss that practice spin when Matt Tiff spun right in front of him?
That was amazing. And it's one of the few areas on the track that we don't cover with a spotter. It's exiting turn 5 or the carousel, which I still have multiple reasons why we call it different reasons. But you exit, and Matt Tiff sitting right there, and Chase started to go to the right and then decided to go to the left. I mean, it could have been a monstrous.
Might have changed the whole weekend.
Exactly right. Could have gone to a backup car, could have been hurt, could have been injured. It might have been, it was again, Watkins Glen hasn't disappointed in a long, long time, and this weekend lived up to it.
All right, we've got a big show coming up for you here on MRN Out Loud. We'll talk more about what happened at Watkins Glen. Don't forget, it's Bloomin' Monday. Go get that free Bloomin' Onion there because Kevin Harvick posted another top 10 finish. We'll also look ahead to what's coming at Michigan and Mid-Ohio. Road racing season is here in the Xfinity Series. Plus, I think Joey's going to get up on the soapbox a little bit later on. Stay with us, everyone.
G'day, America. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, Outback Delivery is here. Now you can enjoy all your Outback favourites anywhere. Our signature centre cut sirloin at home.
It's here.
Or game day party platters with Kookaburra wings that'll have both teams cheering.
It's here.
Or steak and lobster for a date night at home.
It's here.
Head over to Outback.com and place your orders because Outback Delivery is here. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules. Delivery availability varies. Delivery charge may apply.
Here's your chance to win a set of your very own Hercules tires. Go to HerculesTires.com/MRN. Simply register, and each month we'll give away 1 set of tires. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading mileage coverage to get you wherever you need to go, no matter where the road takes you. Register now for your chance to win a set of Hercules tires at HerculesTires.com/MRN. Hercules Tires. Ride on our street.
Hi, this is Mike Bagley. Join me and the rest of the MRN crew every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. We'll get you up to date with the latest news stories and ready for the upcoming race weekend.
So many crazy things happen there. It's one of those races where anything can happen, especially at the end.
Hear exclusive interviews, expert analysis, and much more.
Oh, yeah, boys, how about that? Oh, yeah! Great job!
It's NASCAR Live this Tuesday night at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
MRN Out Loud, presented by Outback Steakhouse, reviewing what happened at Watkins Glen and what might happen this weekend at Mid-Ohio and at Michigan International Speedway. You always say, and have for years on this show, that when people are mad, it must have been a good race. You had William Byron and Kyle Busch. You had Bubba Wallace and Kyle Busch. You had Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Blaney.
Kyle Busch in the field.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people who were upset after this race. So, and it was a good race. And I don't know if it's necessarily a scientific equation, but it does seem to hold true that when people are upset, it was a good show.
Well, because it's the the area of environment that you're squeezed into, the drivers get claustrophobic because it takes so much discipline to get around Watkins Glen on your own that when somebody's in your space, it's like that one fly at dinner time that just won't get off your food, you know,
and you can't quite swat him.
You can't hit it because you're going to ruin the food. And we saw right away in the first lap of the race, Kyle Busch and William Byron got together, and then Kyle was mad, and he pushed William down in the grass, and then William tried to retaliate poorly, we might add, poorly. You get the job done, man.
Yeah.
Don't.
Well, he's young yet.
That's
He'll figure it out.
You know, and I think Darrell Wallace gave him a good way of demonstrating how to do it
Here's
properly.
how you do it.
Here's how you do it, exactly. And then
then owned up to it afterwards. He didn't try to say,
Absolutely.
"Oh, I slipped," or "My brakes went out," or
no,
something.
I'm done. I was just done with it.
Yeah, I'm not going to take that.
He said, "I'm not right," and so he felt wronged, and he righted the situation. And then Adam Stevens after that said, "Can we?" His crew chief for Kyle said, "Can we just please quit messing around? We done yet?" You know. So one of the fastest cars on the track wasn't able to compete for first or second. We saw the JD Motorsports driver Ross Chastain and Justin Allgaier
on the Xfinity race,
on the Xfinity side. So there were a lot of people mad simply because that you felt wronged or you were being wronged by, you know, and that's that place to where we go to certain tracks that it's a whole lot easier to get even right away than it is others.
Because you know that guy's got to almost stop to make this turn, and you can run up on him.
You can anticipate, you know he's going to do an action. So Watkins Glen is to me, we clamor about more road courses, but they have to be more like Watkins Glen because it provides, again, on acceleration, on braking, steering, handling. It's really a complete type of course.
You've made this comparison before, but I wanted to take it a step further and ask you, if you were president of NASCAR and could add another road course, which one would you prefer?
You know, I was talking with Daryl, our producer, before the show. I'm a huge fan. I would love to go to Mossport. We see such great finishes there.
In Canada, where the trucks race.
The trucks, and we always see that spectacular finish.
You better not be in front on the last lap of that race.
Exactly what Daryl said. It's one of those tracks that you know if you got somebody behind you, you're like, good night, I'm just going to be dumped. Now, as much as I love Mid-Ohio and Road America, the only thing I dislike is the fact that as a worker spotting, I see so little of the track, right? And that's what I dislike about Watkins Glen. I dislike about Mossport. The only road course,
but that doesn't mean they don't put on great races.
Exactly right. This is a personal opinion. The thing about Road America, that's such a long racetrack. It's 5-minute caution flags. But Mossport's a good job. I would love, and again, it gets us out of our country, but not so far away where the expense. I mean, it's just right up here.
Toronto. Yeah, it's right outside Toronto.
It's right there. Like it's a good vacation spot. Head up cross the border, go see Niagara Falls, go to the race and stuff. I'd like to see that. That would be the one track that I could see the NASCAR guys doing a really good job at because the trucks do such a good job already.
All right, let's go back to Watkins Glen for a moment because it was a sellout crowd, 2 great races, 2 great finishes, but bring out the soapbox. There was something that you weren't necessarily thrilled about, and it's not necessarily a reflection on the track or its personnel.
No, when you talk about 2 good races, we actually had 3 series there. You know, on the show, we don't talk about a lot of the K&N series stuff, but it was a triple header weekend.
You can check out NASCAR Coast to Coast for that.
That's exactly right. But on Friday, we had the K&N series, and Watkins Glen, being a road course, is one of those tracks the teams prepare to run in the rain. They're required to have a windshield wiper. They're required to have a taillight.
Not optional, required.
It's required. And an unusual twist, Goodyear brings their rain tire to the track. So the K&N race got canceled.
Why?
It rained.
But what about the rain tires and
that was
the wipers?
Exactly. Well, the reasoning was it was going to take too long to dry a portion of the track, and that portion of the track was wet. Well, the other portion of the track was dry, and the problem with, and I completely understand, the problem with the rain tire is it, as good as it is in the rain, it's horrendous in dry. It tears up too quickly.
Yeah, why is it not like your street car, which does well in both?
Right. Well, my thought process is I was told it would only last about 2 or 3 laps max. Well, that's good because by that time the wet portion of the track, in my opinion, could have been
running through it.
We could have tried it. We could have taken the opportunity. Everybody prepares. We have all these rain tires. it would have just been a good opportunity. And we
remember
just,
at Mid-Ohio a few years ago where it rained and then stopped and rained and then stopped, and the debate was, when do you change those tires? And it introduced a strategy element.
Exactly right, and that's exactly where I'm going with this. We could have put on the rain tires and ran a lap, and then the drivers could have said, hey, man, I'm going to come down, put on my slicks, and I'll take it easy through the rain, and then I'll have my advantage over here in the dry. Or a driver could have said, put on my wets, and I'll take it easy in the dry and have the advantage in the wets. And I just think we missed out on an opportunity for everybody sitting there because we prepare for it. It wasn't a sudden change. And I was like, we canceled the race.
You were disappointed. Yeah.
I was disappointed. And it's because
were you going to work that one or just watch?
I was there watching. You know, and,
just to hang out and be a fan.
Hattori Racing and their K&N side, Robert Huffman, who used to be our truck chief at BKR, they ended up winning the race. So kudos to those guys. They were out front when they did call the race with McLaughlin as their driver. But I just thought it was it's the one track that we go to that has an opportunity to run in the rain, and we cancel it because the track was wet. I'm like, there's a twist.
They prepare for it and then don't
there's
do
a
it.
Twist of irony there somewhere.
There absolutely is. No question about that. As we move forward, we've got a look ahead at Mid-Ohio and Michigan coming up. Denny Hamlin's going to tell us a little bit about racing at Michigan, but let's don't go too far that way yet. Before we talk about where things stand, 4 races to go now on the Cup side before we set the playoff field. Jimmy Johnson, one of the guys we talked about who was mad after the race, he and Ryan Blaney had a little chat after the race, and he is right on the cut line, tied with Ryan Newman. He gets the tiebreaker, but there are about 35 points separating 4 or 5 guys right around that bubble now.
And I think we actually saw, I'm not going to say a kink in his armor, but we saw the pressure of making the playoffs with Jimmy Johnson. If he has already gotten a win, or if he's going to miss the playoffs by a bunch, which he's never missed the playoffs, mind you, we don't see Jimmy's emotions this way. He had a crew chief change. He was running adequately to stay in the points chase very comfortably. Him and Ryan Blaney got together off the carousel in an innocent, really, Jimmy says Ryan dumped him. He didn't. Jimmy slipped up or moved up the track. Ryan filled that spot in one of the small areas that they don't have spotters. Okay. That portion of the track is blind by anybody except for the 2 drivers and TV coverage, of course. So what you had was the intensity of that moment. Ryan Blaney took it. Jimmy was going to try to get it back. They spun out. Jimmy ended up finishing in the top 20 right after that, but we saw the pressure of Jimmy Johnson.
They had a different strategy, and they were much better off before that, but he had older tires to play that strategy, and that allowed Blaney to catch up to him.
Yep, and again, if he doesn't make the playoffs, it'll be the first, and again, we saw that pressure. So he was upset at Ryan Blaney. They talked after the race, and I think it's interesting how the video shows. I thought it was a very good conversation amongst professionals, and that's the way it should be handled.
And on the Xfinity side, the playoffs are looming large as well. Now Austin Cindric punches his ticket, and let's not forget that the Roval is a playoff race on coming up a little bit later on this season, and Cindric will be good there again. Chase Briscoe won there last year. He has already punched his ticket now because he wins at Iowa. Some other guys beginning to throw their hat in the playoff ring on the Xfinity side.
Yeah, it'll be
besides the big 3.
It'll be interesting to see who rises to the top again with the performance at a road course, because they have some really good road courses coming up. But right away, Austin Cindric has to be the favorite for these road courses next with Mid-Ohio and the Roval on that side, because he's so good. That's what he bit his
he came up in sports cars.
Exactly right. So he's a road course guy that is still being converted to an oval, if you will, through the Team Penske side. But
and when you talk to him about it, he says, "Yeah, but I want to get better on these other tracks."
Exactly right. And what's interesting is we saw it with Marcus Ambrose, who never was really good dominant on road courses and never really got comfortable on ovals. Clearly, Austin's in the top 5, top 6 in points. He's doing a good job already and has nothing to worry about. But it'll be interesting to see. And again, I keep saying every week, man, I'm so disappointed up to this point on Justin Allgaier's performance, because I know his team is better. I know he's better, and eventually
he's a really solid road racer too, and doesn't get a lot of credit for that.
Not a lot of credit. He's won. Was it Mid-Ohio or Road America? Yeah,
and won in Montreal when we used to race up there as well.
So I keep waiting for them to flip that switch and have everything line up and him go to the front. But what a tight field over on the Xfinity side there at the bottom of that playoff list.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Another time out here on MRN Out Loud. When we come back, we'll shift gears and look forward a little bit to Mid-Ohio and Michigan.
It wasn't just built to be a museum. It was built to be a shrine to the history, heritage, and future of the sport we love. This is our house, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and it's packed full of classic and present-day cars, including Petty's, Earnhardt's, and Waltrip's, as well as interactive experiences, realistic racing simulators, and much more. Plan a trip to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte. Tickets at NASCARHall.com. NASCAR Hall of Fame. This is our sport. This is our house.
G'day, America. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, Outback Delivery is here. Now you can enjoy all your Outback favourites anywhere. Our signature centre cut sirloin at home.
It's here.
Or game day party platters with Kookaburra wings that'll have both teams cheering.
It's here.
Or steak and lobster for a date night at home.
It's here.
Head over to Outback.com and place your orders because Outback Delivery is here. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules. Delivery availability varies. Delivery charge may apply.
Hey guys, it's Dylan Welch. He's Tyler Burnett. We're the co-hosts of the Rip the Fence podcast. If you like traditional non-wing dirt track racing, we've got the podcast for you.
Shane Meal trying to drive away.
I can't do everything, but I could do anything and everything I wanted before I got injured. So
just like many of the great podcasts going, we invite racers in to talk, and they tell us their life story.
And it's how I feel that matters.
It's the Rip the Fence podcast, available on MRN.com and your favorite podcast app.
Well, I tell you, we didn't race well there. That was probably one of our worst, mile and a half or 2 mile racetracks of the year. We just didn't. I think I qualified up front, battled for the lead early, and then once I lost track position, it was over. It was just kind of like a train of cars. Nobody wanted to make a move because you would just get freight trained by the cars around you. Really been working hard with NASCAR over the last couple weeks or so on that racetrack, trying to get another groove built into the third groove up top. So I think if you start to widen that racetrack out, I think the racing starts to look a little different there. But certainly, I don't think Michigan turned out anything like us or the fans were hoping for when we had that race. But there's no doubt our past at that racetrack, even in June, has no bearing, I guarantee you, on how we go race there here in August. So you can make up for the horsepower, or if you have more horsepower, you can put more downforce in your car. And I think that's the one good thing that has come out of, well, not the one good thing, that sounds bad, but with the rules package being different and so much downforce, teams have had the option week in, week out to either apply more downforce if they would like, or apply less drag if they would like. And so you haven't seen a whole lot of infractions, body infractions, people trying to get every bit of downforce out by putting things in the car that shouldn't be there. So it's been pretty good as far as the tech process, I thought, this year. And I think that really, if you are lacking in the engine department, you just have to make up for it by trimming your car out a little bit more on the drag side. So you can balance it out. It's crazy. You can literally make your car a pole-winning car or 20th place car with just a few adjustments.
Denny Hamlin, Joey, finished 11th and talked about what a horrible day he had, led 5 laps, but Joey Logano dominated at Michigan earlier this year, led all but 40 laps there. Kyle Busch finishes second, but he talks about how different he expects it to be this time. Why?
Well, I think what happened was the 22 went in a direction, and he was able to sit on the pole and dominate that race. And the other teams, because we're not blind, we pay attention to the direction that the 22 had their car set up and trimmed out, as Denny Hamlin mentioned. So I think we're going to see that direction where other teams follow, because they saw that handling was important. Mm-hmm. But being faster was more important.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't
exactly,
it?
right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly. So drivers and teams thought that handling would come into play, but as long as you were faster, you could stay out front where handling is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're going to see more teams go in that direction, and I think Michigan's going to be a tighter race. One of the things that Denny's talking about, and a footnote here, he's become a father figure of the sport recently. Mm-hmm. He's working. Not that he's patting himself on the back.
No, but he's doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
Exactly right. Yeah. I think that's really cool from Denny's side things. We don't see that from a lot of
It's got to be a veteran, though, to kind of assume that type of role.
Well, and it's the driver that's not asking for something for himself. Mm-hmm. He's asking something to create a better racing environment, and I think that's really important from what Denny's doing. But working on Michigan, they're trying to get those corners widened out. We've never saw Michigan really come back to what we had.
Where you could go almost anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Physically. We went from the apron to the wall.
And you saw a variety of different lines.
Before they repaved it. That track would have been just like California, which it was just like California before they had to repave it due to the weather and the deterioration of the asphalt. Whose fault? The asphalt.
The asphalt. There you go. Nice. Well played.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
So we've never seen it widen more than maybe 3 lanes at the most, and that's really being generous. It's 2 lanes right now, without a doubt. And they're going to try to spray it and work on it and maybe use the Tire Dragon. There you go.
Yeah.
So I like how Denny's been working on the racetrack side, and I hope we can get Michigan to widen up a little bit, because when you have cars that are already wide open, they need some place to go in the draft. And going wider is going to help.
Some other guys to keep an eye out for. Daniel Suarez finished 4th. He's one of those guys just outside the playoff cut line right now. He finished 4th there, as we mentioned last time, led a lap. Ryan Newman, 8th. He is tied with Jimmy Johnson for that last spot right now. Some guys maybe to keep an eye on as we go back. Alex Bowman had a pretty good run there, a top 10 finish for him. Anybody else that you think might be kind of flying under the radar as we head back to Michigan this time?
You know, the interesting thing about the Ryan Newman-Jimmy Johnson tiebreaker is I read yesterday where the tiebreaker is the highest finisher, and Jimmy has that tiebreaker with a higher finish than Ryan Newman.
Do you know where it was?
No, I don't.
Daytona.
Wow, beginning of the year.
And you know who finished right behind Jimmy when he got that better finish?
Ryan Newman.
Exactly. Yeah. One spot behind him.
You never know. You just never know.
That's why you fight for every spot, because when you get into tiebreakers, you don't know what's going to make the difference.
I'm hoping, I'd love to see somebody outside the top 16 win a race. You know, because we're outside the top 16.
I'll tell you a guy who I would keep an eye on, and he's a Michigan native. Eric Jones has got like 4 straight, I think, top 5 finishes. I think that's correct. There might be one in there that's a little bit off that, but he's been very, very good lately and feels, to me anyway, like they're close to getting a win.
And I could see now that you saw some performance from Kevin Harvick, I'm still looking for that Clint Boyer speed, you know, that we see. And again, those guys were really good at Michigan, so we'll see if they can get that victory.
All right, let's shift gears and talk a little bit now about the Xfinity side. We go road course racing again at Mid-Ohio. That course is a little bit different. A lot of sports car action there over the years. The Xfinity Series has gone there and put on some great races over the past several seasons, but I think you got to look at the same cast of characters, don't you? You expect an A.J. Allmendinger to be strong, a Justin Allgaier to be strong, Cindric will be good there again, and I think there's a good handful of guys you can expect to be in that front group.
You know, one of the things we saw Saturday that really got overlooked because of the finish of the race was so good was the one guy that was clearly the class of the field before he had the problem, and that was Kyle Busch. When Ryan Blaney was leading, and this is one of those things that we don't, it gets overlooked as well. Ryan Blaney's leading. Clean Air is going to have the fastest car on the track. Kyle Busch was running him down 0.4 of a lap quicker in traffic. He broke out through second, and it was funny because Josh Williams was on the spot on the main spotter stand. I was helping him over in the S's, and he was calling out times to Ryan Blaney to get him into a rhythm to see how fast he's going. Kyle's 3 seconds back. You ran a 10th faster, or so forth. On the 3rd lap, when Kyle actually caught Ryan Blaney, the lap before he broke, I got a text. I'm not telling Ryan Blaney that loud. 1.2 seconds quicker. 1.2 seconds quicker than he was. So I think we get rid of the fact that Kyle Busch was really fast at Watkins Glen because he's not running Mid-Ohio. So it's really going to be amongst the same guys you just talked to. Nobody that we saw on Saturday is miraculously going to pick up a good road course car and figure out how to road course race in a matter of a week. You're still going to see the Justin Allgaiers, and I'm curious to see, in a side note, how the Ross Chastain Justin Allgaier thing plays out.
Is that over, you think, or not so much?
No,
okay.
no.
Drivers have long memories.
They have really long memories, and it'll be interesting to see.
But will Chastain do that, because he's running for points in the Truck Series now, and they are going to be at Michigan?
We'll see.
We'll keep an eye out for that, because he has been doing double duty whenever his schedule permits.
You know, not only do we give away onions on this show, you know, and I get to play with my Joey in public.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't term it like that, but
well,
I get your point.
Everybody knows. But we're also giving away free tires. And who doesn't want free tires? And if you want to give away a free set of tires, and how do you do it? How do I get a free set of tires? You have to register at HerculesTire.com/MRN. It's that easy. It's HerculesTire.com/MRN. NASCAR.com/MRN. One set of tires a month simply by registering, and we can do it right here on this show.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and check that out. You can get free stuff, onions and tires, the only show that gives you the opportunity to get both for free. One more segment here on MRN Out Loud. We've got a little more to look ahead to, and we'll run down the broadcast schedule as well.
G'day, America. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, Outback Delivery is here. Now you can enjoy all your Outback favourites anywhere. Our signature centre cut sirloin at home.
It's here.
Or game day party platters with Kookaburra wings that'll have both teams cheering.
It's here.
Or steak and lobster for a date night at home.
It's here.
Head over to Outback.com and place your orders because Outback Delivery is here. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules. Delivery availability varies. Delivery charge may apply.
Winged Nation, your go-to for winged sprint car talk, news, and information. Find all the episodes of Winged Nation on your favorite podcast platforms. Steve Post, Ashley Stremme, and Aaron Evernhead go in-depth with the race winners and personalities from dirt tracks all across America. Like Winged Nation on Facebook. Follow Winged Nation on Twitter. You'll get stories and information and live broadcasts of Winged Nation shows from some of the top dirt tracks in the nation. Winged Nation, your home for winged sprint cars.
The countdown to the playoffs is on, and NASCAR Today keeps you in the thick of it.
It's already, a nerve-wracking feeling knowing that's coming.
Every weekday, you'll hear what the stars of the sport are thinking.
As every other track we've been to with this 550 package this year, there's a lot of unknowns just because we've never done it. They're all so different.
NASCAR Today takes you in the garage and behind the scenes as the championship battle heats up.
These Cup cars, man, they were a handful to drive.
MRN Out Loud, presented by Outback Steakhouse. It is Bloomin' Monday. If you're with us on a Monday, you can go by and get that free Bloomin' Onion and register to get your free tires from Hercules Tires. We're giving away one set of those a month. We haven't mentioned much. We talked about it very briefly going out. The trucks back in action after Eldora. They go to Michigan this coming week. Any carryover there from any of the shenanigans we saw at Mid-Ohio, or rather at Eldora, you think, or are the truck guys just settling right down now? They've got a playoff battle as well to settle.
I think Michigan provides one of the greater races that the trucks have because it's very, very similar to what we see at Daytona and Talladega, except for the fact it's a little bit narrower. I don't see it's too fast of a track to have any shenanigans. Eldora was a great place to show off or blow off some steam to your competitors. But I think what we're going to see, again, some very good racing at Michigan. The second time we go back there with the Cup car, when we go back with the trucks as well, I think guys learn quickly, and I think we're going to see a better race on Sunday than what we saw the first time because of the direction these teams are going to go in. They understand that
they've learned a lot more.
Learned a lot more. The trucks now, because we already saw Daytona kind of style package. The trucks will go back to Michigan.
Austin Hill wins that one
right away. First
right
time
out of the gate.
The 16 teams. So that was really good for him. But I believe the trucks are going to that's one of their best tracks of the year because of the drafting and how wide they can get down the front stretch. The turns 1 and 2 are a little bit narrower as well as 3 and 4, but there's a lot of runs you can get. I like doing that race. We have Trey Hutchins I'm doing this weekend. He's going to make his debut at Michigan.
Stuart Friesen finally gets his first win after 6 runner-up finishes over the past 3 seasons. Is that a guy you can see now because he's been so good, so close for so long that once you get that first one, more start to come?
The first one is the hardest, and it gives you the confidence. So I could see Stuart. He's been running good.
Yes.
That hasn't been a problem. It's not like they're We've said it on the show numerous times. Some teams have problem executing. Some teams have problem finding speed. Theirs wasn't finding speed. They had plenty of it.
Yeah.
It was really executing a complete race, not running out of gas, not speeding on pit road, whatever the case may be.
Or whatever, because there were several different things.
Right,
yeah.
there was, but he was able to finish second, and you don't finish second. We see it with Eric Jones over in the Cup side. You don't finish second, luckily.
A lot,
right?
Yeah.
You might trip into one once in a while, but as many times as they finish second with Stuart Friesen and / Eric Jones, they're both going to win a race before the end of the year.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch as well. We'll have all that action for you coming up this weekend right here on the Motor Racing Network. Don't forget, every Tuesday night, Mike Bagley hosts NASCAR Live, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. The action there. Consumers Energy 400 is the race at Michigan. We'll kick things off on Friday with practice 12:30 Eastern Time there. Pole qualifying comes your way Friday evening at 5 Eastern Time. We will also have practice again on Saturday morning at Michigan. That's at 8:30 Eastern Time. Final practice 11:30 Saturday morning. The Corrigan Oil 200 in the Truck Series comes your way at 12:30 on Saturday, and the Xfinity Series at Mid-Ohio 2:30 Eastern Time on Saturday. Check out MRN.com for more. I'm Woody. That's Joey. We'll see you right back here next week.